today's edition of our PHP training. And last time we were discussing about condition statement, that's a conditional statement, and we found out that the conditional statement is used in making decisions based on certain conditions that we find ourselves doing our program. And we talked about the if, else if the last time. So today we'll be talking about the switch case and then the default, how we can use them in making decisions, and also based on certain conditions we can use the switch and then the case to make those decisions. Okay, so let's quickly begin with the switch case. Okay, so to use this switch case, basically the switch case is used to select an action, one out of many actions that we have, just like the if statement. We used to select one of many blocks of code to execute. So let's begin. How do we use this switch case? So we use the switch case like this. First, you specify the switch, so switch like this. Then you add the condition or the information that you want, you are passing through. So this is the information or the value or anything that you want to pass through. So let's say the information. The info stands for information. Then we add this type of bracket. So inside this bracket, then we will use the case like this. Then single quote. Then we pass the value that we want inside like this. So after passing the value, then we use this column. Then we add the code of block that we want to execute. Like this. After that, we add the break keyword to it in order to pause it when after executing the code of block inside this case. Then we can move to the next case like this. Then we also add the value to it, just similar to the first one. Then we also add our code of blocks here. Then we add the break, so we can add to the latter part. Then we use the default. So if it does not match the first one, the second one, the third one, the next one, and up to when you think you are okay, then by default what it should do. So by default we use what we call the default like this. Then colon. Then we can add our code of block inside like this. Okay, so let's try to put this into practice. Let me create a new file. So Control N, and let me try to save the file. Okay, so I have a folder that I saved my files inside the htdocs. That's the exam folder, htdocs, and I have PHP tutorial. So I'll call this one switch.php, just like this. So I'll add my PHP script inside this tag. Okay, so let's try a similar example. I want to see or I want to see the color that you want. I want to see your favorite color. So let me create a variable first. Oh, sorry. Let me create a variable first. So I'll create a variable called, let's say, color like this. Then I can assign string. You can assign string or value to it, to anything. So let's say my favorite color is, let's say, green, like this. I've stored green inside this variable, that's color. Now let's try to use the switch statement. So I'll use the switch like this. Oh, let me take it back. It's something. It's the same thing that I want to do, but it will confuse. So let's go step by step. So switch. Then inside the switch, I'll pass my color. So color, just like this. Now I'll bring my bracket. Then I'll say case. So the case, let's say for example, if the color is red, so I'll first pass red. What is the code that I want to execute? So I can say echo your favorite color is red, just like this. So this is for the first case. Then I can move to the second case. So case like this. So case yellow, that's the next color. So I can say that echo your favorite color is yellow, like this. And let's move to the, let's say, the third part. So we can add as many as we want. So case green. Then we can say that echo your favorite color is green, like this. So let's take when the person selects a color or input a color which is not part of what we've listed here. Let's try to tell the person something. So by default, default we can tell the person that echo your favorite color is not part of the listed colors. Simple like this. Now let's try to save this and try to run it inside our server. So first let me turn on my XAMPP. So XAMPP, then I'll start my Apache and then my SQL like this. Let me open my browser. Let me copy the path, file path, right. Let me try to open my browser like this, and let me paste. Now I have to change this one to local host. So you can see that your favorite color is green because it's also part of the green. So let's change the green to, let's say, red, like this. Save and then refresh. So you can see that your favorite color is red. And assuming that we input a color which is not part which is not part of the listed colors that we have. Let's see. Your favorite color is not part of the listed colors. So as simple as that. So this is how we can use the switch and then the case. A typical example of applications that uses this type of switch case is when we try to maybe buy a bundle on our phone. So those procedures, they can say that enter one for maybe, then they'll give you the options. Enter one for this, enter two for that. That's a typical example of switch case. So I want to see if we can do a typical example of such thing and see. Okay, so assuming that we have a list of, let's use a typical example that we normally use is the MTN mobile money. Even though with this simple app, this thing that we're about to do, we can use the if, else if, and this thing to do. We are trying our best part to use the switch case, switch and in the case. So let me comment this part. I want to comment what we did earlier on. So assuming that our mobile money, we've dialed the code that it gives us access to the other options. So you'll see that it will give you some options. So assuming that we have, let's create a variable called options. This would have been better if we created a form, then we will accept the input from the user, but we've not gotten up to that place. But let's bear in mind and let's try to do something. So let me store one inside. Okay, so it's very much similar to what we did earlier on. So switch, then we will pass the variable option. Now we add this bracket, then we start with the case. So case, if it's 1, how do we do? Case 1, what do we do? Maybe you can tell the person that you've choose from the options, we have 1 to be, so let's say echo you have selected transfer money. Let's say that is the first option. Let's say that is the first option, and let's say the person select the enters 2. So let's say 2. You can, let's try to copy the same thing. Copy, then let's try to paste, and let's say you have selected Momo Pay. You selected Momo Pay for the second option, and let's add the third option in case the person selects the third option. So case 3, then you can see that you've selected airtime. You've selected airtime like this. So let's see, this is okay. So if the person enters a number that is not part of what we want, so let's say by default, that's the default, when the person enters anything which is not part of this, we can tell the person that the option that okay, let's say wrong input or wrong value is being inputted like this. I don't know if the inputted is correct. Okay, let's leave it like this. Let me take this whole thing off. So wrong value, this is okay. Now let's move to our browser and then refresh. So you can see that you have selected transfer money. So if this was to be our mobile money, this one would have lead us to a different page or a different condition for you to also input another option as we use on our phone. So assuming that the person enters, let's say 6 on the keypad, let's look at something. So this one would have popped up an error message to the user in case the person enters a wrong value. So this is a simple switch case and how we can use them. So thank you, and if you have any question, my telephone number is below the screen. You can send your question to me on WhatsApp and I'll be glad to answer those questions. Thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.